there, Sithscott man here, and I'm going to be doing a video based on a request that I received. This request mainly was, what does your characters look like?
Embraces
More importantly, what does your child look like? And so I want
A blade embraces its duty, as a jeweler cherishes their gems.
Working on and how to do a decent build. I'm not rich, so I don't have every single thing optimal. And I don't always have the most time, but I have done this artifact domain for like 2 months straight just to find okay-ish artifacts. But let's look at his attributes first. This isn't ideal, but this is a pretty good start at where we're going. He has a lot more HP than I'd like. He needs more attack. And the defense is okay. Honestly, it's okay to have some defense with Childe just because it was R2. His crit rate is okay. His crit damage is okay. It could do more. Energy recharge, I don't know why that's so high. Hydro damage is pretty good. That's his ascension stat, so it's good to put that on extra. So my Childe is level 90. I have him currently equipped with the best 4-star for him, in my opinion, which is Rust. He increases the normal attack damage by 50%, which is fantastic. You want to focus a lot on his normal damage just because his R2 gets a lot more damage from his normal attack damage. So I'm still working on talents, clearly. I have 8, 9, 8. I want to crown him eventually. Another big thing about it is he increases normal attack levels by 1. As you can see, I need a lot more of his talent books, and those things are a butt to get a lot of. Artifacts now. So, the thing you want, most importantly, is a hydro damage bonus goblet. Substats, of course, you want are usually crit rate, crit damage, or attack percentage. Energy recharge, elemental mastery, they don't matter too much. Elemental mastery matters a bit because he gets a lot of hydro damage fast. But that's only if you really are using his hydro in terms of reaction damage. Elemental reactions, of course, are very powerful, and they become even more powerful based on your elemental mastery stat. Another important thing for Childe is a crit rate hat. You want to make sure that he has a lot of crit rate. One reason, of course, you want that is when you look at here. Over in running slash, attaining an opponent affected by Riptide with a melee attack, which is Riptide slash, that deals AoE damage. Damage deals with skill damage. After 30 seconds, when the ability is unleashed again, the skill will end. Technically, it will return to his range stance, and the ability to enter a cooldown. The longer time it stays in its melee stance, the longer the cooldown. Basically, you just want to make sure that you do a lot of crits when you're over here. Luckily, he cannot be overridden by other elemental infusions. Another reason, though, is his Riptide. He gets a thing called Riptide when they get hit by hydro damage or from a precise aim shot or a crit shot. So his Riptide deals even more damage afterwards once he gets hit by another element, which is usually you hit him with a lot of elements if you're going to use his R2. Which is why when you see people use Childe, they usually use a charge shot and then ult and then use R2 and then do a lot more damage with their R2 damage. Go back to the artifacts. So the Hourglass, attack percentage is fine. The substats of this one are actually decent. Good crit, a crit rate substat is okay. A decent amount of crit damage is good. And then you have this feather here. Has okay crit damage, and it just has crit rate, which I consider a blessing, considering he had freaking 22% energy recharge coming on. So with the feather and with the flower, you don't need to worry about the base stats because they are fixed. One will always be attack, one will always be HP. Don't worry about the substat. Worry always about the base. Don't worry about the base stat. Worry about the substats. And my substats in this are horrendous with this one. I need to do more runs and get a better flower, of course, because my artifact RNG is just fantastic. So I have the Heart of Depth artifact on him, which helps him a lot because of the 4-piece set here. After using an elemental skill, it increases the normal attack and charge attack damage by 30% for 15 seconds. And that means when you pull out his little daggers, he then instantly gets an additional 30% attack damage boost, along with the 15% of it in the second piece. So this alone gives him like a 45% increase just with his R2 ability, which is a fantastic thing, especially because it works for 15 seconds, and you get a lot of boost for that 15 seconds. That's when you're going to see the most damage, which is why I usually use my ult. I try to use my ult at least pretty shortly after the 15 seconds, so I can maximize normal attack and charge attack damage. So I was only asked really about my child, but I thought I'd give a look at what my Ayaka is going to be turning into. I'm still, again, doing this domain because I want to get better stats and better artifacts for child, but also I now have the Destroyer set to be getting it for Ayaka. I got her to level 90 as well. This is just a look at her attributes. As you can see,
a blade embraces its duty, as a jeweler cherishes their gems.
That is crit damage. So you'll be wanting to take a look at weapon. Also increases crit damage. This is the sword that came in the weapon banner with her. I'm lucky enough to grab ult. I didn't try very hard to pull, honestly, but I used my 1 pity to get Ayaka, and then I used all the rest of the Primo gems that I had built up to get Ayaka to then try to get the weapon. Luckily, I did get the weapon, and I didn't have to actually hit pity to do it either. Again, I just have 0 substats, 0 or constellations. My talent's going to be looking bad because I'm still working on it, and honestly, I haven't done a lot with Inazuma as much as I'd want to do. As you can see, you need to do a lot of Inazuma stuff to get a lot of the Samurai, Kikuchi handguards. However, I have been getting her talent books, so once I do a lot more attacking of the Samurai, getting more of those handguards, I will actually start being able to work on her. So, let's look at her artifact set and why I think the Blizzard Strayer is the best for her. So the Blizzard Strayer gives you cryo damage bonus plus 15%, but also gives the 4-piece set, which when this character attacks an opponent affected by cryo, the crit rate is then increased by 20%, which for her is fantastic because she has a lot of crit damage. If the opponent is frozen, the crit rate is also increased by an additional 20%. So a frozen enemy, you get a 40% increase in your crit rates, which is very handy. And luckily I got a crit rate hat. It's not a very good thing. Just to let you know, if you looked at my stats earlier, she has a lot of defense, and that's all because of all my substat rolls. They were terrible. So crit rate hat is the big one you want for her. You want a cryo damage bonus goblet, which this is the only good one I have, which is kind of sad. I got it at the Crimson Domain of all things. And I've got a lot of defensive substats. Again, I don't know why, but Ayaka just attracts defense. Attack percentage is okay. I wish I had better substats, as usual. Again, the base stats don't matter too much, but this actually has pretty decent substats. I wouldn't say they're great because, you know, it'd be nice to have more than just 1 roll of crit damage or 1 roll of crit rate. But here we are. Attack percentage and defense percentage keeps getting rolled instead. And the flower, at least I got some good crit rate rolls. I got like 3 rolls with like the minimum, which I think is like 3%, so you barely get a lot. But hey, 9.7% is still more than 3%. I got a bunch of attack rolls though, so that's pretty decent. And I got like 1 defensive roll, because defense, always. So this is my Ayaka. And another one I want to quickly show is I'm barely building Zhongli right now. I've been working on him in a different artifact set. When I had just the Geo and Noblesse, I decided to go with the Millilith because I wanted to see how he could do. And honestly, I love the way the Millilith works. Plus, it gives him more HP, which helps every other thing he has on him. So let's take a look. This is part of the Noblesse set. I need to get a Geo damage goblet, obviously. This is not the ideal one to get. You want Geo damage. You want Geo damage. Crit rate hat, which is actually pretty decent for him. I'm again, I just barely started working on him, so I just got level 0 here. And this is the one I've been mostly focusing on because HP percentage, and look at this. Crit damage and HP percentage, and HP flat, which is actually fantastic. Though I get some defense, which Zhongli doesn't really need any defense. His shield should do all the work for him. Attack feather. As you can see, a lot of my stuff isn't really leveled up for Zhongli, so this is barely what he's going to be into. Once you get level 20 artifacts, that's your prime character until you get a better one with substats. So again, this one gets a decent amount of HP percentage at least, with attack percentage and 2 defensive rolls and energy recharge roll. Which actually energy recharge isn't bad for Zhongli. You want him constantly being able to ult, get that meteor, and just meteor the earth basically. HP gives HP percentage, energy recharge, good. Crit damage, good. Elemental mastery, nah. Doesn't really matter too much with Zhongli. But the other 3 are great, especially if you get some crit rate, which is what I'm hoping to do once I level up the hat and once I level up the feather, and literally just level up everything and get a better goblet for him. But this is the character I'm going to be building up soon because I really like Zhongli, and he is very tanky, and I like the tank. So that's just a start of the characters, and if you really want another demonstration about who I have and what they are doing, here is my full list of characters. You may not be able to follow them because I am luckily in the middle of it on what you see. But I have 5 stars. Those are basically the ones that I maxed out. The one character you probably can't see very well that I keep going in front of is Sithscott. My 4 stars I'm lacking in actually working on. I probably should do better with.
Osmanthus.
I really want to work on Seiyu and Yanfei. Yanfei, honestly, I feel like might be a better choice than Klee in some regard. Klee does have a lot of damage, but she's
so heavy.
in her range, which is kind of sad. So that's my list of characters. If you want to see anything else, well, let me know. And if you could, just subscribe, follow me, and ring that little bell. Thanks for showing for the video today.